Hello guys, welcome to the next section of the course, Integration of Azure Functions with Other Azure Services. In this section, we will start by locating faces from the images and processing of files stored in OneDrive. Then we will learn about Azure SQL database interactions. After that, we will monitor tweets using Logic Apps, and lastly, we will be integrating Logic Apps with Azure Functions. Now we move on to the first video of this section that deals with locate faces from the images. In this video, we will learn how to use the Computer Vision API to detect faces within an image. Then we will be locating the faces, capturing their coordinates, and saving them in different Azure Table Storage based on the gender. To get started with the process, we need to create a Computer Vision API and configure the keys to access the API in the Azure Function app. We need to make sure that we have Azure Storage Explorer installed and have also configured to access the storage where we are uploading the blobs. We will start by creating a new Computer Vision API account. First, in the Azure Management Portal, click on the plus icon that is Create New Services, and from Azure Marketplace, we will choose AI plus Cognitive Services. Then we will select Computer Vision API. The next step is to provide all the details to create an account. We will give the name to the API as Face Validation and change the location to the West US. In the pricing tier, we will select Free 1 F0, which allows 20 API calls per minute and is limited to 5,000 calls each month. For the resource group, we will use the existing Azure Function solutions. Lastly, we will accept to the notice mentioned below and click on Create button. Under All Resources blade, we can see the Face Validation API has been created. Next, we will configure the app settings. Once the Computer Vision API account is generated, we can navigate to the Keys blade of the Face Validation account. From here, we can grab any one of the keys. Let's move to Azure Function app. Under the Platform feature, we will select Application Setting. Here, we will create new app setting with the name Vision API Subscription Key. As the value for the new app settings, we will use the previously grabbed key. This key will be used by the Azure Functions runtime to connect and consume the Computer Vision Cognitive Service API. Save the settings. To create a new function, click on this plus button. We can refine the templates by choosing C# in the language dropdown and samples in the scenario dropdown. From these options, we will select the default templates named Face Locator C#. Once we choose the template, we need to provide the name of the Azure function, so we will enter Locate Male-Female Faces. The path of the image remains the same. From the Storage Account Connection dropdown, we will select Azure Functional Storage, which we have created in the previous video. We will upload a picture to Azure Blob Storage Trigger Image Container mentioned in the path parameter at the end of this section. Azure Table Storage Output section, we need to provide table name as Male Face Rectangle. Note that while creating the function, the template creates one blob storage table output binding and allows us to provide the name of the table name parameter. However, we cannot assign the name of the parameter while creating the function. In the Storage Account connection, we will select Azure Functional Storage. Once you have reviewed all the details, click on the Create button to create the Azure function. Further, we move to the Integrate tab and select Azure Table Storage Output. Here, we need to rename the table parameter name to OutMailTable. Then we click on the Save button. Let's create another Azure Table Storage Output binding to store all the information for women by clicking on the New Output button in the Integrate tab, selecting Azure Table Storage and clicking on the Select button. We will change the table parameter name to OutFemaleTable and table name to FaceFemaleRectangle. In the Storage Account connection, we will select Azure Functional Storage. Once we have reviewed all the details, click on the Save button to create the Azure Table Storage output binding to store the details about women. After that, we will switch to the code editor of the run method by selecting the function. Before adding new, we will remove the existing parameter. Then we will include outMaleTable and outFemaleTable parameter with this line of code. Next, we will replace this line of code with this code snippet. This condition is included to check the gender and, based on the gender, store the information in the respective table storage. After making changes in the run.csx file, save the file and move back to the Azure Storage Explorer. Under Blob Containers, we will create a new container named Images. In this image container, we will upload a picture with a male and a female. As the image is uploaded, we will navigate back to the Azure Management Portal. Here, we will expand the log section and we can see that the function gets triggered as soon as we upload an image. This is the JSON that was logged in the log console of the function. Navigate back to the Azure Storage Explorer again. Under the Table blade, we can see that the function has created two different Azure Table Storage tables. Note that the APIs don't guarantee you that they will always provide the right gender, so, in your production environments, you should have a fallback mechanism to handle such situations. You can learn more about the Computer Vision API at this web link. In this video, we have learned to locate face from the image using cognitive services.